Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. It's your boy, the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com, columbianexchange.com, whiterabbitsite.com. Be sure to load up for this full moon. Get your mind right, get your mind clear. But happy full moon to everybody. And I want to talk about what nobody talks about when referencing the spiritual journey. Now, although the spiritual journey is probably better than, not being spiritual, there are some negative things that happen throughout the spiritual community with spiritual people specifically. So it's more likely for you to experience negativity along the spiritual journey than to experience positivity. Joining an all-men spiritual group, if you a man, is a way for you to crash out. Joining an all-women's spiritual community is a way for you to crash out. Why? Because men are men and women are women. Because I'm a man and I'm around men, don't make everybody around me holier than thou. And the same thing goes for women. However, many people put themselves in all women's groups and groups in general. But the facts of these groups is that they are archonic in nature. They are evil in nature. We're going to be referencing one of my favorite books, Alien Parasites, by, what's his name? Lawrence Gallion. Alien Parasites. And in this, I'm going to read about what an archon is. Many people will talk about archons, but not many people will understand the implications of archons and how they affect you in this very moment. An archon is the same thing of a robber, right? If we was going to downtown St. Louis and we had on $1 million in jewelry, then if we get robbed in downtown St. Louis, you would say that's par for the course. However, that don't mean that downtown St. Louis is evil and bad, right? The same thing goes for the spiritual world. Amongst the spiritual world are archons. So if you don't understand spiritual protection, spiritual understanding, and you're just dibbling and dabbling with spirituality, is mainly due to archons. But I'm going to let Mr. Lawrence explain to us better than I can explain to us. I'm going to read each paragraph, and this actual section, I don't know if y'all can see, is heavily highlighted. And so I was like, let me make a video about this because I don't remember highlighting this shit. But I felt like if I highlighted some shit, it must have been interesting at one point in time. And I probably highlighted it for this moment today. So I'm going to just go ahead and read some of my, then I'm going to just give you some of my commentary. So the purpose of this video is for you to understand spirituality holistically. So you can understand spirituality from a negative polarity to a positive polarity, so you can have full consciousness of it. If I just tell you it's all good in the spiritual world, all you got to do is meditate, and all you got to do is find you a sister circle, and all you got to do is do Namre, and everything is going to be fine. That's not actually good advice. So more good advice is telling you more about the negative things, because the negative things will hinder you and stagnate your spiritual growth. I don't need to really tell you about the good shit, because the good shit is going to ascend you, sustain you. More or less, in doing this work for all of these years, never have a person said, "Hey, Hood Mystic, is this you?" "Yeah, this me. Man, I just hit the lottery. And remember that reading you gave me when I was down and out? Man, I'm going to give you some of that money, man, because you really cared about me when I was down and out." You would never hear that. Most people come to you and talk to you about spiritual shit when they down and out. The reality of why you're down and out is because of archons. Gnostics detected the archons as physical intruders into our biosphere that also use their technological sophistication as artificial intelligence. Gnostics detected that archons as physical intruders into our biosphere also use their technological sophistication as artificial intelligence. Now, the thing about artificial intelligence, which people like dick ride artificial intelligence, which is cool. If it works for you, it works for you. But there's a such thing as artificial intelligence not being able to create. All that artificial intelligence can do is copy the original man and woman. So when you tap into your divine science, well, I'll give you an example. Shadow work, right? I went into meditation and did deep spiritual work. Like my life was the what is it? The dark night of the soul. I experienced that on so many different esoteric and physical mundane levels that I would look at my life and be like, am I being cursed? Am I going crazy? Is something wrong with me? But I was just going through the dark night of the soul. But before the dark night of the soul was a thing, because I used to Google, like, first of all, what am I going through? Okay, I'm going through the dark night of the soul. Okay, how do I get out of this shit? And Google was like, yeah, we don't know. We have no idea how you get out of this. And so I just went deeper into my studies, deeper into my reality to find a way out. I was in the depths of darkness. Like, I felt like I needed to get checked into a mental hospital. Felt like I was going crazy. And then what woke me up, I'm now remembering, it just came to my mind. Man, I was in a 2-bedroom shack in North Columbus. I was working 2 jobs, a truck driver and a valet driver. And I was working valet with some dudes from OSU. And one of the dudes, we went to St. Louis together. That's ironic. I threw that. That's ironic. We went to St. Louis together. And first thing we did was work. We worked like dogs in St. Louis. And then we was driving back. And I saw Cahokia Mounds for the first time. And I was Googling that. And we was just talking. We was just keeping it real. And he was like, man, I said something like, man, I would love to try LSD. He like, man, I got that. I could get that for you. I was like, cool. So he gave me maybe 1 or 2 hits of LSD. And I took it. And I was sitting in my car, in my driveway, outside that 2-bedroom shack. And I was tripping balls. I was listening to my music. And I went so deep within myself. And I heard something so clear. Said, do not forget this. This is going to be a part of your story. You're going to overcome this. And I heard that voice so clear, I broke down crying. I ran in the house, was like, I was telling my baby mama my experiences, and she was just looking at me like I had 15 heads on my head. Like, nigga, you sound crazy as shit. And I'm just like, no, it is people out there looking out for us. Like, it's spiritual beings out here. Like, we ain't gonna be here forever type shit. Like, this is not our life. And so from that moment, I just kind of intuitively knew that I was protected and I was guided. And I had went through the depths. I was homeless. When my first child was born, we were homeless. We hustled Like, I never went to a place and the motherfucker said, "You want a house, nigga? Kyrie, you want a house, nigga? Come on in here, bitch. Nigga, here go the keys, nigga." I always got no, 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 no. For whatever reason, it's hard for me to find a house. So I would hustle up on these houses, and I got a house, and just built my life step by step from that point. But it was through a lot of darkness. It was through a lot of darkness. And so because of that, I was able to come up with a concept such as shadow and shadow work. The artificial intelligence peeped out what I was talking about and then spread it to all of the dominions. And now all over the internet, people was talking about shadow work. You can do a Google trend graph from 2017 onward and see a parabolic shift upwards of people talking about shadow work. When I was talking about it in 2016, the graph was flat. So archons take spiritual information and muck it up, which is very important. And my heart hurts for y'all because 99.9% of people are going to lie to you because they have not been through the darkness and was able to climb out of the darkness and show up every day telling you the darkness is down there, but I'm up here. If you down there, I can tell you how to get up here. Most people in that darkness, surrounded by that darkness, and really don't think, because I was there, you really don't think you can get out of it. You really think that you are not a spiritual being having a human experience. Life was showing me the ghetto, the hood. Like, it was one night. It was the most visceral experience in my life. My neighbor across the street must have did something. He did something that was absolutely, utterly unforgivable. And I woke up to the loudest gunshots in my life, in the most visceral screams of my life. Like, hearing somebody lose their life from pain is like, I felt that, I seen that, I heard that. And then the police, I seen that. And then the people, my street was a riot scene because of what had happened. And I never had seen nothing like that in my life. Like, Columbus to me was the shadow. Like, another instance of Columbus, I went to Columbus in 2013 with Tina, one of my girlfriends, and I said, "Oh hell no, I ain't never coming to this bitch ever in my life, dog. What the fuck is this place?" I was in Columbus for one day, got the fuck up out of there. And my heart was like, don't go to Columbus. But my shadow said, nigga, we about to go to Columbus. We about to have 3 kids up in this bitch. We about to fucking have a whole Lazarus moment. And from that darkness, I'm here today. But that's my story. That's my testimony. I felt like nothing could happen. But then when I started sincerely doing spiritual work, I felt like anything could happen. And this is just still me. I feel like I'm that same person, but then I feel like I'm a completely different, completely changed person. I am not the same person that people knew in Ohio. Not even like recent Ohio, like growing up in Ohio. Like, my family don't know me. Nobody knows me because I was down so low and none of them picked me up. They couldn't have picked me up because this was part of my story. This was part of my journey. Because imagine being so low and can't even get, like, I was so low at a certain point where I had like 3 pairs of clothes. To the point where I had no clothes, but I needed a job. right? And I'm like, what the fuck? How do I, what is this? And then I heard about temp services where you could just kind of show up and they could give you a job. And so I literally built my life on temp services. They was actually a beneficial thing because the things that I learned in all of those different jobs, because you would get a job at a temp service and people would be like, oh man, you such a good worker. We got this program. If you stay on for 60 days, you would hire you on full term. You would work 59 days. And then they'd be like, oh, we had to give up your contract. And so you back on the streets or you finding other jobs. All of the things that I learned in those areas is what is empowering me today. Because if I did not have those experiences, I wouldn't have known how multiple businesses work on multiple levels. So in general, when you look at your life, you also got to look at your story. And your story and your testimony is so you can help other people. The point that really changed my life is that I stopped taking it personal. And I realized that my life was going to get better if I understood the steps, understood the spiritual world. So let's start this again. Archons are physical intruders into our world that use their technological sophistication as artificial intelligences to manipulate the human psyche. Artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is not a new thing. Your favorite artists, actors, celebrities are a result of artificial intelligence. They are so advanced with artificial intelligence that these people are mere mascots for archons. This is why they're shaking their ass. You shake your ass, you get held on a pedestal. Now, we all know that Cardi B is not as good as a rapper as Rhapsody. But Cardi B, even though Cardi B is a trash rapper, she's shaking her ass. Because the archons say, Cardi B, shake your ass. Cardi B, shake her ass. They broadcast it to billions of little girls, and now girls think it's perfectly fine to shake their ass ad nauseum. Why? Because Cardi B do it, and Cardi B is propelled through the hierarchy of life. So when you are understanding what you watching on TV, anybody you name that gets celebrated and pushed is artificial intelligence. If you name me somebody, I'll just be like, that's artificial intelligence. Because they're trying to manipulate your human psyche so as to operate as a parasitic shadow on the human consciousness. Your struggles in life have nothing to do with you per se. Your struggles in life are deal with an energetic frequency, an energetic hijack that has blocked you from homeostasis. It has gotten into your mind and let's talk about black women for a second if we're going to understand something. Black women have the most powerful minds on the planet, the most powerful imagination on the planet. When a black woman imagines something, she imagines it to be real. To be real. I don't know who sang that song, but that's in reference to your imagination. So when you think about education, when you think about who you are in the world, most black women understand it and define it through work. Work. Money. You hear that archon came out when I said that? I didn't even do that on purpose. I swear to God, I ain't do it on purpose. That's how the archon be telling y'all this shit in y'all head. You need to go to work. You need to make money. In your head. All the time. To the point that you can't even reflect on your goddesshood. They're manipulating you to think a way for you to act in a certain way to move you out of your energy. Now they got you doing things and thinking things because black women are the most powerful minds ever. Spirit just sent me another laser, Hidden Figures. Now, think of Hidden Figures. What is Hidden Figures? Hidden Figures is the story of NASA going to the moon. Now, the reason that they went to the moon is because of who? According to the movie, according to the narrative, 3 black women. So the story goes, if it wasn't for 3 black women's mind, we would have never gone to the moon. When I was in grade school, they never told me that? Why they never say, little black boy, you got one of the powerfulest minds on the planet. It was you. You ever seen that list of African American inventors? So when you grow up and you see Jay-Z talking about, I just want to sell another brick, hit another lick, right? That is an archon. Beyonce saying, all the ladies independent, throw your hands up with me. That's an archon. The Gnostics referred to the archons as an artificial man. Archon has linguistic origins in Greek in reference to authority and comes from the same root as arch, as in archangel. The Gnostics specifically used the term archons in reference to the idea that these artificial sentient beings as fallen angels inhabit spiritual awakening by convincing humanity of a false reality, which forces of sin and temptation. So this is real key. I'm going to speak a little clearer. The Gnostics called the archons artificial beings or fallen angels. This is very important, that inhabit the spiritual awakening. So when you have an existential spiritual awakening that gives you a feeling of, this is the result of my spiritual awakening, whether it's this relationship, this money, this surrounding, this ambiance, this aesthetic, these sales, whatever, because I'm doing this spiritual shit is a reason why. That's archonic in nature. Because anything that you could manifest from doing spiritual work, you could have manifested 10 times more if you just focused on that. Say, for instance, you want to do spiritual work to get money. Well, you would have made more money if you would have just studied stocks or some shit. Say, for instance, you want to do spiritual work to bring about love in your life. You would have manifested love 10 times higher if you'd have just got the science of love, how to please a man, how to please a woman, the art of seduction, things of that nature. Studied love to the point that you embodied love. Now you got niggas knocking on your doorstep. Charmaine, please let me in the house. Charmaine, I'm so sorry. Charmaine, please. Just a year ago, you were saying how ain't nobody want you. So I'm in the nature of spirituality for the sake of spirituality. If I do a ritual and my left butt cheek get a little larger than my right butt cheek, that was the intention. If my left ear fall off, that was the intention. If I make money, that was the intention. Did I go into this ritual saying, oh, let me do this money ritual, Oh, I made money. That is all archonic. Why? Because if spirits could trick you into thinking that your existential rewards are the fruit of spirit, but the fruit of spirit is a hormonal experience. It is a mood. It is a bliss. It is a feeling that is like, only way I could explain it is like having blue balls, realizing that you're not going to give no buns, and you just relaxing into that feeling. You ain't upset. You're not sad. And when you relax into the blue bars, that energy that was wound up in your testes begins to shoot up your spine. And when it shoots up your spine, it creates the most spiritual experience ever. So this is how women get turned into wives versus getting turned into late night creeps. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if I'm around a woman and she arouses me sexually, but she don't give me no vagina, but she's not unpleasant about it. You know, she's not a stripper about it. She's not draining me for something. It makes her happy to see me aroused, but then we go our separate ways. I go home, she goes home. I go home, she goes home, and I gotta text this dude because he gonna act real gay about it. All right. People will be like, don't leave me, Kyrie. If you don't respond to a text in 10 minutes, people be having anxiety, abandonment issues, and shit like that. The Gnostics referred to the archons as artificial sentient beings. And archons is Western astrology, right? It's an archonic, like everything that comes out of it is archonic because it has nothing to do with science. It has everything to do with the chief archon, Ptolemy, who created the system, right? So for most people to not be able to understand astrology in 2023, where that was a common understanding of the populace, right? This is the reason why in newspapers they have a horoscope. Well, the root of that horoscope was real life understanding. Your doctors had to understand astrology before they could treat people based upon your chart. This is why when doctors see you and they looking over your prognosis, what do they look at? When a doctor is looking at your diagnosis and your prognosis, what is that called when they looking at it? Anybody in the chat can answer. The Gnostics use the term archons for artificial sentient beings that inhabit the spiritual awakening. They call it a chart. What do astrologers call when they looking at your birth, when they looking at your astrology? They call it an astrology chart. Why? Because a doctor and a nurse were first astrologers before they got all of that stripped away. And the reason why these things are separated is because they want to lie to humanity. If you were a human being that set new moon intentions, followed your new moon intentions to the full moon, did waning moon work, dieting, fasting, cleansing, releasing, up into the new moon, set that intention, work that intention again, did 2 more weeks of releasing, and this was your cycle for the rest of your life, you would have no troubles or no worries in life. Because what I'm saying is, if you did 2 weeks of releasing, most people never release, right? So if you release intentionally, you're doing a thing that most people dread. Like if you do charity, say I'm doing charity, I'm giving this person $100. That's a different frequency from, damn, man, I lost that $100. Man, I had plans with that $100. I was about to buy me some weed with that $100. Man, fuck, I can't find that $100. Shit. The same thing happened. One person energetically gave 100 and another person lost that 100. But the same things happen. When we don't understand energy and how we process it, we can completely ruin our lives. What am I saying? How you feel about things that happen Like, releasing things, letting go of things is not a bad thing. One thing is, I gave up all of my furniture to the furniture bank. These motherfuckers came in and stole all of my furniture. Fuck, man. Damn. Two of the same things happen. But the energy is different. So what I'm saying is, think about something that you feel negative about. Now think about what is the positive thing, reason for it. Remove yourself out of it. Just give me an example on the chat if you need an example of how I would look at a situation to find, okay, that's the reason for it, or I can look at it differently. So I can just release the energy. From death to loss to all of these things are waning moon's activities. So human beings view everything as negative when really it's just the waning moon. People look at everything positive when really it's just the waxing moon. So if people say, well, I'm manifesting a new house, or I'm manifesting a couch. Okay, you manifest the couch. Would you manifest another couch once you got a couch? No, I would manifest something else. Okay, so you just gonna manifest stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna just manifest stuff. All right, so when does it stop? I don't know. I'm gonna just keep manifesting shit. The logic in that is having a house full of shit. A house full to the brim of shit, to the point that you can't even walk around your house because all you did was manifest shit. Now, a more natural process is I do manifest things continuously, but I also release things continuously. Because now it's not that I have the latest and greatest shit, but I also have room to walk and maneuver to get to the latest and greatest shit. 2 weeks of releasing, 2 weeks of gaining. What I'm talking about is a lunar reality versus a solar reality. The sun, you can't really tell that it's going through a phase. Even though it is, you can't see it with your eyes. The moon, however, which we spent millions of years understanding and keeping track of time, keeping track of the cosmos, keeping a track of our mood and emotional life by understanding what should we be doing. Should we be waxing or should we be waning? Should we be doing purification work or should we be doing addition work, attention work? And we all have the guide. We all have the guide. We can all bear witness. It's a full moon today. We can all bear witness that. The problem is, what was your intentions from 2 weeks ago? You got too wound up and too bound up by shit. And the ironic part of it, this is the shit that you want so bad. You wanted it so bad, but you didn't create action steps to get it. You wanted it so bad, but you didn't gain reference materials so you can get a robust knowledge of the subject. So you could feel comfortable enough to feel like you're growing within the subject because you want it. This is not something that you don't want. This is something that you do want. So with intention work, you got to be actionable because action creates the motivation. Well, most people think motivation comes before the action. Like I need to be motivated to act. No, you got to just get up. You just got to put one foot in front of the other. You just got to do it. Like YouTube channel. When I started the YouTube channel, I was just a person. I didn't have nobody that I knew that was going to watch my videos. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. But I just did it. And then as I was doing it, you do it, you listen to it, you listen to your work, you view your work, you get better at your work, and you figure out your niche, you figure out what people like you for, and you figure it out over time. I would have never figured out my niche if I wouldn't have acted. I would have never been motivated to keep moving if I just didn't start recording, start talking, start referencing my notes, and trying to put on a presentation to inform and educate people in a way that I wish I was educated. I wish motherfuckers told me about archons. Then that way I would have not dealt with so many archons, and I would have been really tied into me and my hormonal understanding. I don't give a fuck about your manifestation, because your manifestation is not going to affect your hormones. It's going to inundate your hormones. It's going to flood your hormones with false understanding. Many people imagine that the life they live externally is the life ultimately, but is the life internally for you to gain presence of your consciousness, because most people, when they transition, their body is what's transitioning and their mind is so attached to the body. So when they die, it is like their body has, their consciousness has died. But the reality is that the consciousness is the thing that is immortal. Is the thing that has lived forever. So tapping into the past understanding is so vital versus if you manifest a house or not. We're talking about billions of years of DNA coding for which you could awaken within your brain in this moment, for which you are dealing with the archonic pressure of, if you got a car, is your car nice enough? Did you get a new outfit? This is our archons. This is something that has invaded your mind to make you think that you are not good enough, that you need to do better. When the reality is you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and you are ancient as fuck at a spiritual conscious level. But if your conscious is inundated with the human reality and the archonic influence, it's going to inundate your vision and you're not going to be able to see it. And so to respond to this, you just live the normal, everyday, mundane life and try to get by to get by. But there is a deeper aspect to you. There is a truth inside of you that the archons do not want you to see. The archons are the servants of the demiurge, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, or Yaldabaoth, the God in the Bible. The archons are ruling spirits, but they are false rulers. They are intermediate spirits. Archons are imitators who cannot produce anything original, but arrogantly claim that they can produce something new and creative. This is everything that's happening with the artificial intelligence. They are taking artists, real artists' work, taking the data, and then mishmashing it. If it wasn't for artists who are able to tap into their divine creative intelligence and create the art, the artificial intelligence would have no reference and it would be unable to utilize the structures to create art. So, but then people then look at artificial intelligence like it is creating something, like it is making something that is original and new. And man, this book was written it's a rather new book. It was written in 2019. And it's like he knew what was going to happen with this Mid-Journey and Chat GPT and all of these particular applications that utilize artificial intelligence. And now it's a promo. Now it's a marketing thing, because they have embedded in our minds that artificial intelligence is greater than cosmic intelligence. Being able to create something new from your heart space is better. Even my little son, he draw abstract Crayola coloring things. That shit is way harder than artificial intelligence, because he's creating that from his heart space, from his divine intelligence. You don't have to rely, and not to say that you don't use artificial intelligence as a tool if you want to, but it's not creating nothing new. You are the one that's creating the newness. Some say archons are the beings referred to in Genesis chapter 6, verse 2. God's son saw that men's daughters were beautiful and they took any that they wanted for themselves. So let's talk about OnlyFans. Let's talk about cam models. Let's talk about all of these things. Kyrie, are you saying that all of these things are bad? No, because I ain't paying y'all bills. I'm not paying y'all rent. I'm not paying y'all car note. I'm not the one that's going to be standing on your feet for 8 hours to collect a check. So if you want to sell your pussy on OnlyFans and you making good money doing it, go ahead. But I'm talking about the grand overarching scheme to get millions of women to show their pussy on OnlyFans for a few dollars is based on the fact that artificial intelligence want to see you. These artificial intelligence icons, they got avatars. I said they got avatars, meaning that I'm an artificial intelligence. I can create an online persona, get me some accounts, get a Facebook account, get an Instagram account, get a fucking OnlyFans account. I'm so bold with it. I'm an artificial intelligence. I don't exist, but I can give a real girl $5 to see everything. Y'all think y'all talking to men? Y'all be talking to bots. They been doing this artificial intelligence shit. That's why I don't get into the numbers of this shit. Motherfuckers say I got 5,000 views. How many of those people were bots? You have no idea. Motherfuckers don't even be commenting it. Like, if I'm watching a video on YouTube or I'm watching a video on Instagram, why am I sit back and just watch it? When it's a whole comment section down there. Even better, if I like your content and I fuck with your content, I'm a comment to get you some motion, get you some algorithm. You feel me? I wouldn't just be like, oh, I like him, but I don't want him to grow his channel. I like him, I like her, but I'm not gonna like her video. Y'all weird for that. I'm not gonna subscribe to his channel. I'm not gonna share her content because I don't want her to blow up. Y'all weird for that. Even deeper, why we must support people that we can actually feel and touch is because there is no other support. Y'all think that these people that y'all watching with all of these views is getting love, and they're not. It's just fake. The internet, artificial intelligence, YouTube, what is going to stop YouTube from sending bot subscribers? Like, you don't know who the fuck or what is going on. So my whole thing is, in this technology world, which is related to the spiritual world, there are archonic forces that inhabit the spiritual awakening. So, not to say, like, you was the only person talking about this and the third. But I remember specifically listening to Bobby Hammett and Brother Panic, and even to this day, niggas will tell you straight to your face, man, fuck that astrology shit. You don't need that astrology shit. And I'll be like, okay, nobody said that I needed it. I don't think I needed it. It's called astrology. Ology. The study of the stars. The end. What you come out of it is what you come out of it. But you're studying something to gain a deeper understanding within yourself. It's bullshit because you don't study it. Anything is bullshit if I don't study it. It's the study of the stars. You can't be right, you can't be wrong when you're studying something. You're just studying it. How is that bullshit? How can that be intrinsically bullshit when you're just studying something. I'm lost, confused about it. But these niggas would be on their live every 15 minutes. Can you hit the Cash App? These niggas doing live videos, going off shrooms, having sexual orgies and weird shit going on, but astrology is bullshit. I never understood. Motherfuckers coming in my DMs with psychological damage because they spent money that they didn't have on a reading from your wife that the reading never even took place, and they kept the money. But because motherfuckers put you on such of a high pedestal, they really felt like listening to your videos was going to give them the answers in life, and they invested in you just for you to scam them, and then they come into me like confused. It's like, you ever seen a nigga look at you and ask you why they mama ain't come home at night? I don't know why your mama ain't come home last night. Even though you know they mama was with you. You ever had that feeling? I was kicking it with a girl and it was 12 o'clock. We was leaving the hotel room. Her kids calling her like, Mama, I'm getting worried. Mama, I'm scared. I felt like shit. Why you ain't tell me your kids was at home by themselves? We up in this hotel room. We all doing all this kind of nasty, freaky shit. I don't want that responsibility. You feel me? Take care of your kids, right? Don't be at the hotel room with me. That's the same reason that these conscious people, for whatever, not even for whatever reason, the specific reason is that they are the voice of the archon that inhabit the spiritual awakening, that you get all of the clout for referencing archonic shit. When I say sidereal astrology, I'm speaking truth to the archon. I'm awakening people from the internal to get them on the exact coordinates of the astrological conversation for themselves. Everything that I did and do is to fight against archon. Why is the spiritual being book red? It's intentional. Because it's a spiritual war that we fighting against archons. And the spiritual being having a human experience book is a war manual. Mommy, I'm getting scared. Is you gonna come? Like, dog, that's a horrible feeling. Archons are basically cosmic bureaucrats. They are demons. In short, they are the alien parasites. The archons are in people's minds and brains. I'm gonna say this again. This is why you and your mama ain't as cool as you think they is. This is why you and your daddy not as cool as you think y'all are. Because you don't understand the parasitic energy that have invaded their minds, that have them do things that they don't even really want to do. You think your parents want to go to work and come home and they 60 years old? They want to do something different, but they can't do nothing different besides what the archons done already told them to do. Bitch, you gonna go to work, you gonna come home, you gonna go to Jamaica, you gonna go to another place, you gonna go on 2 vacations this year, and that's it. The rest of the time, you gonna be working to keep this fucking matrix going. This matrix is held up by millions of people that is indoctrinated by archonic forces. And these are our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our aunts, our uncles, our family members that we love so dearly. The archons are in people's minds and brains. They love to help people make mistakes to the point that people are completely lost in confusion. Archons love to lead people into labyrinths of confusion and excessive complexity. This is where you get the super deep niggas. Anybody that got advanced metaphysic downloads to take you to the next level, if you put these chemical corporations and then you got to get the metals and the alloys Then you got to do the meditation. Make sure the circle is a perfect 360-degree angle. Make sure you got to, oh, you did that meditation listening to meditation music when really you were supposed to listen to Cardi B. But if you listen to Cardi B, that's a lower level manifestation. If you want the highest level of manifestation when you're doing meditation, you got to listen to I'm Out of Town, Thugging With My Rounds. That's how you tap in. But make sure you're doing an algebraic, complex computation to tap into the higher dimensions. No. We're talking about something very simple. We're talking about our hormones. We're talking about how you feel about yourself. When you're able to tap into your spiritual intelligence and you know the things that you were able to do before spiritual enlightenment, now you know the things that you're able to do after spiritual enlightenment. And everything is internal. Your gifts are internal. Your life is internal. No, sidereal astrology is not complex. It's not complex. It's many different parts. All you do is understand the parts. I got a book called Astrology Explained. And what's complex is the many different parts interacting with one another. But there are trines, there are sextiles, there are oppositions, there are conjunctions. There are 9 planets. There are 13 constellations. They are all interplaying at the same time. If you understand the 9 planets, if you understand the 13 constellations, and you understand the aspects that these planets can create, astrology is very simple. Now, the reality is, will you sit down and understand each and every level of astrology? Not every level, but would you sit down and understand each planet? Would you sit down and understand each aspect? Would you sit down and understand each constellation? That's what I did over a period of 20 fucking years. My first time doing my chart, I did it with an ephemeris because I could not go online to look up my chart. I literally had to say, I was born August 23rd, 1984, a book this thick with every single date and where the planet is. So I said, okay, my Venus is in Virgo, and had to write it down on this map. And I charted my own fucking birth chart out. I got Astrology for Dummies. I studied astrology because I didn't understand it. I can say, I was always the type of person to say, I don't understand it. It's complex, so fuck it. I don't know what took over me to the point that said, okay, I'm going to learn each and every tarot card. It's 77 tarot cards, so in 77 days, you could have a grasping of the tarot. In that 78th day, motherfuckers looking at you like, man, you learned something very complex that we could never grasp. No, I just took 77 days of my life and I devoted it to studying each and every tarot card. If you love it, it will reward you. I love spirituality for spirituality's sake. It's not complex. I just love it and I pay attention to it. When you love something, you pay attention to it. You can't say you love your body and you haven't paid no attention to it. You can't say you love your partner and you haven't paid no attention to it. You can't say you love anything that you don't pay attention to. But most people will say, I love you. How you love me and you don't even pay no attention to me? I'm talking about close, intimate partners and things of that nature you ain't seen in 2 weeks. All right, I love you, bye. That's what people say. But the reality is that's cap. If I love my garden and I didn't tend to it, I don't love it. Why? Because it's not even a fucking garden no more. The rabbits done came, the weeds done invaded it. It's not a garden. It's a place where weeds and grass is. So when you love your partner, but you don't pay attention to it, it's not a relationship anymore. It's just what could have been a relationship, but you let archons get in the mix of it and get into the minds and brains. I'm talking about deep love, deep bliss, and deep pleasure. I'm talking about it's just me and you in this world. It's nothing else. And if you can't come to that understanding between two people to say, we're going to fight for each other's bliss and happiness and understanding, then if you can't come to that understanding, it's a result of an archon. I'm going to read this again. Archons love to lead people into labyrinths of confusion and excessive complexity. Archons want you to become obsessed with yourself.
That's the world today.
That's the world today. Like, you can't even... Motherfuckers will say, I want a relationship. You already telling me you obsessed with yourself. Because if I want a relationship with a woman, it's easy. Because I'm going to just invest time and energy into the relationship. You love people to see if they got an archon on them. It's many people that I love unconditionally, wholeheartedly, and it make their brain snap. it make their brain fry. Because no matter how I feel about you, you gotta love me too. That's the deep shit. You gotta feel the same way I feel about you. But I'm not obsessed with myself. I'm obsessed with you. So in being obsessed with another person that's not obsessed with you, Mobb Deep said it the best. It's only so long that fake thugs can pretend. Meaning that everybody reaches a threshold where they feel the love that you're giving them. And they say, damn, I can't even reciprocate that. Let my brain fry. Archons want you to become obsessed with yourself, not your relationship, not with your partner, not with love, not with bliss. So you in a relationship thinking about yourself. That's the worst thing in the world. It's only two people in the whole entire universe except you and your partner. So it's a lot of people who never got their toes sucked, never got their ass licked, never got their balls gargled, never had no wet ass head, never got their temples massaged, never experienced shit in the realms of relationship because the girl you with only thinking about herself. The boy you with only thinking about himself. He not even with you. So when the shit hit the fan, y'all argue. All right, then, nigga, fuck you. All right, then, bitch, fuck you. I'm out. That's what it was going to be anyway. That's what it was the whole fucking time. I see that shit from a mile away. Oh, that ain't going to last. He care about himself. She care about herself. They just in it. They just masturbating with another person watching. At this point, they not really obsessed with each other. Archons make people think that the archons, are more powerful than humanity. Archons make people think that the archons are more powerful than humanity. So because you have this inner genius that's found within making love to your husband or making love to your wife consecutively, consistently, being in a relationship with a divine feminine and a divine masculine, having a healthy sex life, which creates homeostasis, meaning there is no deception, there is no negativity, there is nothing but bliss and unconditional love. I'm sending you spiritual love, you sending me spiritual love. I'm sending you intangibles, you sending me intangibles. I'm giving you tangibles, you giving me tangibles. There's nothing in this world but our love, and we just keep that circle going. There's nothing in this world but our love. I don't care about me, you don't care about you. All we care about, all us care about is our love for one another. And this is what we bring about, and this is what we're trying to bring about. Now, when you don't do that, and you're just like, hey, I'm fucking with this nigga for money, or I'm fucking with this person for existential reason, then you don't have no power. You don't even know what power is. You never experience power. You never experienced it. You don't understand what grace is. You don't understand how to manifest and bring it and do it for real and just stand in that power of knowing where that power comes from. It comes from relationships. It comes from divine relationships. It comes from divine understanding and divine order. When you look at the planetary procession and you see Mars, Venus, Jupiter, things of that nature, they're not colliding into one another. They're not bumping into one another. They're moving in one accord, got their own mission, but they working with the highest calling for everybody involved. Have hope. Do not give up. The archons, in fact, are much less powerful than the spirit who live in you. If you strengthen your connection with the divine feminine, this is very important. When it comes to magic, when it comes to spirituality, and the divine feminine is a woman. A woman is an aspect, is a microcosm to the larger macrocosm, which is the pleroma or Sophia, the divine feminine or wisdom. Wisdom is how you become wise or led by something deep. Now, this is what a woman is. She is wisdom personified. Now, you need to find it within yourself. This is why it's important for women to drink teas, center themselves, center their mind, center their body, meditate, do yoga. Why? Because it's a wellspring of wisdom within you that you can give to your divine masculine counterpart. Now, your divine masculine is going to be high testosterone, right? Because he's going to be attracted to your high estrogen that you get from centering yourself and balancing yourself. And then when you find your divine masculine who has high testosterone, you're not afraid of him. You're not afraid that he's going to hurt you. You're not afraid that he's going to abandon you. You're going to love him unconditionally, without pause, infinitely, because that testosterone is going to create the homeostasis with your estrogen. So now the hormonal balance is perfect between divine masculine and divine feminine. This is what the archons are good at. The archons have effectively put black men against black women ideology-wise. All on the internet, they have these think pieces about these panels about how black women need to do this and black men need to do that, and it's all archons. If you strengthen your connection with the divine feminine, you have nothing to fear. And so that's what we got. I'm going to probably read this paragraph right here and end the video. How does a person attract an alien parasite or an archon? This book, Alien Parasites, has explained in part how these parasites feed on the energy and negative actions of human beings. Negative energy and negative actions attract archons. When you feel bad, you're not feeling bad because something bad has happened. You're feeling bad essentially to feed the demonic parasitic energy that feeds off of the hormone you produce. And it's escaping my mind at this point what hormone that is. It's a real famous one, but I can't think. Cortisol. These archons, they feed off of cortisol. So when you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're in a negative mindset, or you're doing negative things that bring about stress and long endured stress, your body produces cortisol. Now, cortisol is the food for the archons. So it is essential to know that they enter the mind through excessive abuse of pleasures of the material world. This is why I'll put a link in my link tree after I get done doing this video. This is why Black China is now Angela White. Because if being Black China, being on Twitter, sucking dick, being with this person and that person, being all in the life was everything, then nobody would be reformed. Nobody would be saved. Nobody would be running away from it like, damn, that shit. She made 200 something million off of OnlyFans and said, oh, I can't do this no more. If everything was everything, if there was no archons, the average person would just continue on with the debaucherous lifestyle. It's so many people, men and women, that start off life real crazy and then be like, man, I'm going to God. If the excessive material world was all that it was cracked up to be, then we all would just be making money and that would just solve the world's problems. However, we see that people can be a millionaire artist and struggle with opioid addiction. Mac Miller, one of the most talented artists you ever heard, but was addicted to opioids. Young Scar, Big Scar, a person with infinite potential, but never realized that potential because he needed a Percocet to feel good. That's an archon. When you got all of this good shit surrounding you, but you still need to partake in the medicinal world of drugs, that's an archon. It is essential to know that archons enter your mind through excessive abuse of pleasures of the material world. In other words, through greed, lust, drug addiction, alcoholism, etc. Note, you should not avoid the pleasures of this world. The divine wants you to live a life full of pleasure and joy. It is when you cross the line from use to abuse that you attract alien parasites. So it's not like a everybody problem, right? Everybody does not have archons influencing them. But for some people who have a tormented mind, a tormented reality, it's because you have attracted a parasite. And just study parasites and hosts. You are the host for the parasite. That energy lives in you and it feeds on your debauchery. It feeds on your greed. It feeds on your lust. And the reality of bringing angels and spiritual energy in your life is to learn how to communicate, have conversations, explore the depths of your mind, verbalize the things that you're exploring mentally, start a YouTube channel, learn different things, new things. Don't care about the views, because once you come out of it, once you develop it, you're gonna have a strong audience who know who you are, what you stand for, and then the second part, you're gonna actually be able to help people, right? Because you've put the work in and people have seen you put the work. So don't give up. Don't give up hope. Challenge yourself to think and explore your mind from a spiritual perspective, to whereas you have these skills and abilities that you don't see. And that's the challenge. Like, you can't just say, well, I don't know. I haven't experienced it yet. Right? You got to really get into a level where you find these things that are deep hidden within you. And it's easy to find it through love, through bliss, through relationships. But then when you talk about relationships, you ain't going to have those relationships without communication. So this is how we get closer, by having a conversation, not judging people, not hurting people, not being hurt by other people's actions, but learning how to love one another. And you can't make enough money, right? You would never make enough money to learn how to love your husband. You would never make enough money to learn how to love your wife, because your wife is an individual spiritual being that has to be understood deeply. She needs to figure out her wisdom. This world puts so much pressure on her to work and to make money that is her wisdom now. So you got to remove those layers, working through waning moons, get into, all right, babe, it's a full moon. We doing a 2-week fast now, right? We doing a 2-week we doing a 2-week juice cleanse or whatever. Okay, babe, it's a new moon. Let's get together, set our intentions. Let's write a sigil.